He is an academic, an international analyst, and co-director of the Council on Hemispheric Affairs. Patricio, thank you for joining us today, and we will be asking you to offer your insight on the events that we've been seeing this Wednesday in Washington, D.C., an unprecedented breach of the U.S. Capitol building. What can you tell us about what's been going on?
Sure. Well, what we have seen today, there's no doubt it is an institutional crisis. It's a very serious situation, considering that the president of this country didn't do the right thing. It was quite the opposite. Donald Trump didn't send any message to avoid the violence. He reacted very, very late. And because of that, there is no doubt that he has some responsibility, a political responsibility, in the fact that one person actually was shot inside the Capitol building and later died. This woman represents the failure of the Trump presidency during these 4 years of chaos, and also a very acute political polarization that he has actually empowered day by day, and now we have this situation where someone is actually dying in one of the most important symbols of the U.S. democracy. So what we have witnessed today is maybe one of the most complicated and polemic days of the Trump presidency. There's no doubt about that.
There have been calls from several lawmakers for Donald Trump to be impeached, despite the fact that he only has about 2 more weeks in power before Joe Biden should be inaugurated as President of the United States. How likely do you think it is that this impeachment could actually take place?
I mean, it's very late for that. I think still the Republican Party is not going to support something like that, considering that in 2 weeks, as you just said, he will be gone. He will be gone from power, and he will be again just a normal citizen. The issue I think that he's going to do, there's no doubt now, because of the political responsibility of what happened today, also because of the situation during last weekend when this phone conversation was revealed, where he was putting pressure on Georgia authorities to basically commit fraud, so he could be benefited from the voting situation in that state that he actually lost. But that recording of his phone conversation with Georgia authorities is also a crime. So there's a big chance now that maybe he's gonna pardon himself, or any similar movement. Maybe he could resign, and maybe Mike Pence, the vice president, is gonna become the new president of the United States, and then he can pardon Trump himself. We are not sure about that, but there's no doubt that Donald Trump has created a huge institutional crisis, and it doesn't matter if he's impeached or not. In 2 more weeks, he won't be the president of the United States. If he pardons himself, it's going to be only for federal crimes, but still every single state of the United States have the right to prosecute him, and there are a lot of legal issues that he has to face. So I don't see really the possibility of an impeachment in just 2 weeks, but there's no doubt that he will be out of power on January 20th.
So what we've seen today in Washington, D.C. is a reflection of the divisions within US society. We've seen a year of huge mobilizations by the Black Lives Matter movement. And I actually have a tweet here from the Black Lives Matter movement. The tweet says, "So we're all just going to act like it's okay that white folks are storming the Capitol with no police response. But when we are protesting to save our lives, the police beat us." This is a point that has been made by several analysts of the response by security forces to the Trump supporters at the US Capitol building, and how it is completely different from the response that we usually see from police and security forces to Black Lives Matter protests and to African Americans in general. What do you think we can expect after Biden is inaugurated in 2 weeks in terms of these divisions, these deep divisions within US society?
Sure. I mean, what happened today was really serious. It's impressive how the Capitol Police or the police who is in charge of protecting the building, they didn't have any clear resistance against this invasion of intruders, and creating a very serious security situation within maybe the most important symbol of popular power in the United States. It is true that it's impressive how this big group of people, how easy was for them to get into the building and to create this situation where one woman actually died, was shot apparently by a police officer. That's not clear. We need to wait for the investigation. But there is clearly here a double standard. I was just 30 minutes ago, I was right in front of in front of Congress. I saw the around 200 to 300 people still there, even though we have a curfew. The police didn't really disperse them. They didn't do anything. They just kept the group stable with no more violence. But it's impressive the fact that the police really didn't exercise the law of the curfew to actually ask all those protesters to actually move out and go home. So there is no doubt a double standard on that. You cannot explain how is that possible. And you're right, when we are talking about minorities or another kind of protest, the police tend to exercise a big level of repression. And in this case, we are talking about mostly white people. They are supporters of Donald Trump. We didn't see the same answer from police forces.
And what you're saying about the reaction of security forces to pro-Trump protesters and the completely different scenes that we have seen in terms of Black Lives Matters protests, and the fact that regardless of what happens with Trump, these divisions exist in the United States, and regardless of the inauguration of Joe Biden within 2 weeks, they will continue to exist. And Trump, even if he is not president, his rhetoric so far seems to indicate that he will continue to fuel this white supremacism in the United States. Do you think we are going to see ongoing clashes, ongoing battles on the streets of the United States? And also, what can you tell us about the reaction there in Washington to the scenes today?
Sure, yes, there is no doubt that Donald Trump is not going to become a different kind of actor, a different kind of political actor. There is no doubt that he's going to continue with his agenda of polarization, because he needs to remain somehow with some political power. He needs to protect himself against so many legal actions. So he is trying to polarize the country to basically to empower his followers, and so he can get more donations, he can get more coverage in the media, he can put pressure on the Republican Party to protect him, because actually he owns the Republican Party right now, and the Republican Party is afraid of the power of Donald Trump right now, because he has the power to control the followers, tens of millions of Republicans who actually agree and like Donald Trump, and they are willing to do whatever Donald Trump asks them to do, and the power of Twitter and all the media attention that Donald Trump is capable of generating. So there's no doubt that Donald Trump is going to become a factor of division even more after he leaves office. And that's a serious situation for the U.S. democracy. There's no doubt about that.
Patricio Zamorano speaking to us from Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for joining us and for offering your insight on the events this Wednesday in Washington.
Sure, you're welcome.
Thank you.